got a bit of a glitch in at the minute.
Hey everybody,
Yeah.
welcome to
I'll fix
Space
that. I was
Makers.
playing
Our
around with
stream is
something Aline sent
live.
me, and I hadn't
Welcome,
checked it out.
and we will
Yeah,
invite
I thought so.
Aline
Yeah,
to
I
talk
am
with us
aware of
today.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
hello everybody. Tonight we don't have Shane here, so I'm sorry for this. So you have to ask your question to me. He's way too busy ironing out the last bugs for the new SDK that testing can start next week and hopefully end of next week maybe already release. Can't promise anything, but it's making good progress, and if I can tell you one thing, then too busy ironing there were added a lot more things than initially planned. So that's pretty interesting and also pretty cool that there were actually a lot of changes at the end and also new loading screen, new home environments, all that stuff will be there. Okay, you know the drill. Whoever has a question is standing on this podium here and ask your question. And if nobody has a question, I'll try my best to imitate Shane's nonsense waffling and just talking without saying anything. So yeah, if you still have no questions, I will continue. And at some point, I will just go with quack, 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 meow, quack, quack.
I have a question.
I can do this all day.
Oh, Lisa, you go first. Absolutely.
Sorry.
Okay, Lisa.
Yeah, my question has got me really interested. Yeah, clearly an absolute expert at making enormous environments. But I'm wondering if there's any special kind of tips or techniques that you could share in regards to making it performant, because you just seem to be adding more and more and more and more, obviously, to like the back rooms, for instance. It's a huge space. There's a hell of a lot going on there. And I understand things like, occlusion culling and LODs and things like that. But for the sheer size of the space, are there any other techniques that you are using to keep it as performant as it is?
Fun fact, backrooms aren't that big. It's just in volume. So there are just so many layers stacked on top of each other, but the width and the length isn't actually that big. So that up front. And then also I like to segment things into chunks. So it's just bigger parts that are connected. And if you are not in this part, I'm just disabling it. So I just have some trigger boxes that are way bigger and overlapping. And if you leave a trigger box, the trigger box you were currently in, where the chunk is connected to, will just get disabled, and the next one get enabled when you come in. Same for all the entities, all the monsters. They are all disabled by default and really only are getting enabled when you are close to them to just save on performance, because skinned mesh renderer is always something Unity is not very good in when it comes to performance. So yeah, there are some already automated systems, but yeah, just turning them manually off when you don't need them is always a good way to optimize.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, do we have a second contester for a question? I see people moving around. Okay, perfect. But I take Tiger, your turn.
Hello.
What is your question?
Perfect. If I was creating a space and I wanted to create an object that every time a player joins the room, they appear at that exact coordinate, how would I go about that?
That's actually something in the current SDK you have to do with AFRAME. In AFRAME, you can just use a start function that's called set position or set player position, I think it's called. This will ensure that the player will always get teleported to this position, especially when you don't want people to spawn somewhere else. So it's currently broken in the current build. Normally, it should save your last position where you were in a space, and next time you come back, it will set your position again. It's like when you also reload, for example, when I would reload now, I should be spawned directly here on this position. But yeah, there's a bug in the current system that will revert me back to the default system. But there is also a little argument for here for the main line. Wait, let me quickly look it up because I always forget how it's actually called. But it's just where you set the properties for the space. For example, you set the refresh rate. If you want to use 90 frames per second or 120, you can then just set sq-spawn point equals and then position, and then you have just 3 values for x, y, and z position. And that's the default position where you will spawn in. But this only counts for normal joining. For reloads or coming back, it should use your last known position. But this will hopefully also, with the new menu, this will be just an option you can enable in the settings. Then you can decide if you want to go back to the whoosh.
Sorry, thank you.
To go back or to just start from the start point. And with AFRAME, you can also always enforce people spawning in a certain position, especially when you want to lock someone in a room, for example.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I think actually the AFK jail is using this function that it just sets the position of each user manually. So they land randomly in a different cell. Okay. Do we have someone who's brave enough for the third question? Anyone? You might get a cookie at the end of the event.
Cookies.
Professionalism.
Oh.
I have a question.
Pony.
Please. I have a question.
Please
I had a
behave.
question. Hold on.
You have a question. Mine's
Yeah.
stupid. You go first.
Okay, yeah. So when I use the video player, and I come back the next day, my video is reset to like something else. Why? Is it a way?
Yeah, so normally each video player has its own playlist. That's what the creator of the space adds. And when nobody is in a space for quite some time, so the website actually goes into standby mode, and this will reset also the playlist. So your playlist will only stay there when there is constantly someone in there keeping it alive.
Oh, got you. Okay. And also, is it possible to add assets to your worlds, like besides using Unity? Say I make something, an asset in Blender. Is it like possible to just to like be able to access it from within my world?
I mean, you could import GLB files with AFRAME, or you could also create a kit bundle that's like an asset bundle, but only for prefabs. So you just drag prefabs from Unity into the builder, and then you can just load those individual prefabs in a space. But you have to be the space owner. So it has to be your space. And if you want to, for example, you want to edit this space, you want to
Yeah.
add a huge
I'm
golden cow
the
statue,
owner
you're
of my
just
space. It's
gonna
a
remix
template
it.
though I'm using. It's a banter template that I'm using, but I'm the owner of the space basically. So
Yeah, if you're the owner, you can do anything you want.
okay, so where do
And
I find the documentation for that so I can?
There goes my question.
yeah,
Oh,
so
I'm sorry.
doc
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't worry, it's fun.
Okay.
so if you actually click here on this link for documentation, it it looks like it's not correctly set, but if you on the website you click on the top right on docs, and then you have the full SDK reference, and there you actually find in I think it's in components. You have definitely the kit bundle, and it shows you how you can load them, and also how to load an GLTF file. But most of the time, I absolutely recommend just checking out the example projects and
Okay.
then just copy the code from there. That's what I always do, because I always forget how to write stuff in AFRAME. So I just look in spaces, oh, who made something like this? And then just steal the code.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, that's it. Oh, Pony, who wanna go?
I was
I'll go
literally going to
first.
ask, just explain the documentation to anyone who doesn't
Stay.
know.
I'm there. Made it.
Okay, Pony.
Right then. If I wanted to make it like using one corridor and I had a corridor right next to you, but I didn't want the voice to carry, can I create a localized zone to stop the voices carrying as far, like a whisper zone, or just create it local?
At the moment, not. At the moment, the voice roll-off is just a global setting, but
Right.
it's definitely on the roadmap to have interest groups that really, when you are in a group, only people around you can hear you, and also, yeah, make it easier to change the distance. Also, something that's probably going to be a settings in the menu that you can just change the distance. Maybe also, I haven't even thought about it, just have it a property for space makers to define the roll-off
Yeah.
in the space. For example, if you want to build a whisper space where you only allow people to hear each other when they really half a meter close to each other, that should be possible, especially with the new space options we're going to add with the new menu, that you can simply have a whole panel in the menu just dedicated to settings for the current space you're in.
That's cool. That's brilliant. So just a little bit longer then. Thank you. Sliding.
Yeah, so the current workaround, which a lot of people are using, is actually using teleporter. So you just have separated rooms, and I think the distance is, I should be able to check this quickly, but I think
Yeah,
it
that's what I'm
was
doing now.
about 22 meters or something like this.
Yeah. I thought it was. That's what I keep doing. I keep teleporting. I mean, all the hallways spread apart, but the maps are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Right, Joe.
So.
Thank you.
So actually, wait, I have it here exactly. Oh no, it's exactly 30 meters.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was
That's
about 30.
currently the roll-off.
Yeah. Right, Joe. Next. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Lean.
Hello.
All right. So my question is somewhat reminiscent to the earlier question that was asked regarding your enormous spaces, and how you make them basically. Now, personally, I'm not tech savvy in regards to using Unity or making spaces in any app like Banter, but I had this thought. So you were talking about loading in assets and chunks or something, but I'm just thinking out loud here. Would it be possible in Banter or do you think if not now in the future it'd be possible to do like kind of like a Minecraft kind of idea where your map is pretty much infinite because the world loads at chunks at a time? Would that be a possibility?
I mean, yeah, you're talking about procedural worlds at this point, and there are games like this made with Unity, but the main problem is just Unity's floating point accuracy. So at some point you will get some problems, and this is mainly due to the physics controller, because in games like Minecraft, for example, yeah, no, Minecraft is a bad example because they just let you run forever until you land in the backrooms or something like this. The world is completely freaking out because of floating point issues. But normally what you do in Unity, at some point you are resetting the position when you go too far from the world center. But you have to go really far. So if you think about it, you normally have a clipping plane distance. So the distance you can see, that's most of the time maximum just 1,000 meters. And yeah, that's normally absolutely enough for most spaces. That's, I think, Slipstream is complete about 800 or 750 even. So there's plenty of options, and I would say, especially when you go with procedural, yeah, this should absolutely work with the new SDK when we get visual scripting into Unity. But the main problem is more that it will really hurt performance because you
Yeah, I was
really
thinking
need
that.
some advanced custom systems that will merge objects together on runtime, which, I mean, you could probably do it, but it's going to be quite complex and difficult.
Yeah.
But
That's
what you
that's
absolutely,
what I expect here. Yeah.
yeah, what you could do is doing some procedural dungeon-like games that you have predefined segments and chunks that fit together, and then you can make a system that just spawns random pieces, or maybe you have some rules how pieces should spawn together, and then you also have kind of an endless world.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, Echo.
Hello. I know this has been asked many times before. I just probably wasn't paying too much attention. Whisper zones. I know you probably can't tell us what's coming, but is there a way around whisper zones to where we can literally keep a conversation in each room and not over here? Is there like a
Yeah.
workaround?
You wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. Wow, did someone
I
already
just
ask?
asked. I just asked it.
Pony?
You? Okay, so we all had the same
Behave.
thought going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
I
the
digress.
global answer to this question is just interest groups, and it will come. But currently we have
Gotcha.
SDK and menu, and actually avatar overhaul, that we finally get some better looking avatars close up, that you have some better LOD system that prioritizes your friends. So other people will get lower resolution and only your friends are way higher resolution, all those things. At the moment,
Perfect.
upfront, but I can guarantee you next on the list definitely is network voice advancements, especially
Nice.
interest groups. Maybe we can squeeze it in between. That would be freaking awesome, because for me personally, current voice solution is pretty bad because
Yeah.
you can hear people on the other side of the room, and the person right in front of you, you can't understand a word.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So true.
Great. Sorry, Pony.
No, it's
I
fine.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So we had 2 times now interest groups. So yeah, I make sure this is going to bump up on the request list to make it more urgent.
Aline, I was just
Important
wondering
question.
about voice chat, how we can maybe reduce the volume of users. So maybe if somebody's, you know, just over there, we
like
could maybe not hear them as clear.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
only
I mean,
joking. I'm only joking. I'm just asking the same question again.
no, but that's actually
I'm joking.
how you asked it, Bob. That would be something
Bad Bob.
different.
Bad Bob.
Oh, damn it.
Not
You
that
can
bad.
answer
For
it again, though.
example, no. If you want some individual settings, that would also something we should consider. That, for example, you click on someone's name tag, you get this pop-up where you can add
Isolation mode. Yeah.
friends. You have a mute megaphone, all those kind of things. And if you then just have a slider for their individual volume, which will be saved. So I don't know. You have someone who plays on PC VR and has an extremely loud microphone. Or for example, I forgot to reduce my mic boost, and everyone in the space thinks their ear is getting blown out when I talk. That's a perfect use case to just reduce the volume for a single user.
Thank you.
I'll make a note here, definitely. Okay, Bob, do you have another question regarding voice?
No, no. I've already put a ticket in too. There's a Jura ticket.
Fine. I just want my cookie as
Okay,
well.
awesome.
It's official,
here for
guys.
my
It's
cookie.
official. Okay, it's in the logs.
Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
What do we have for us?
You all know Vanquish's court and how many objects and that the huge tragedy synced objects caused for him during the start until you did the overhaul and all that. Has that been any fix so we can have a larger number of objects synced, or is it still set to the 100 per se?
Currently it's still locked to 100. Yeah, the main problem is just with all the avatars in there, that's getting a little bit too much.
Could be a
But yeah,
premium feature.
also network synced objects is currently quite a basic implementation. Probably Gareth would like to choke me for that, but there is definitely quite a lot of improvements necessary. For example, you probably know those weird workarounds you have to do when you want functionality on synced objects, that you have to use a follow animation. That's all something we definitely have to find a way better solution that everything works out of the box. And this will also improve performance, because a lot of those annoying workarounds you're going to get rid of, and stuff should just work. But yeah, the 100 limitation, it's just problematic to lift this, because if you open it up to, I don't know, unlimited, performance will degrade. You will get network problems probably, and at the end, everyone in the space won't have a good time.
No.
So I think the better solution is really just to selectively
Localize everything.
enable objects really that are currently needed. So if you have your huge library of all the evidence objects, especially in the code room, but then you only load the ones in that you actually want to use on the case that's currently on the event list.
All right. But easy enough.
I mean, maybe we could do some special cases, for example,
Special
the code
case.
room, but that's not in the system yet and has to be implemented first.
Thank you, Aline.
You're welcome. Okay. Oh,
All right.
that's quick.
I'm
Go on. Next
hoping
one.
y'all didn't already talk about this one. So your sleepy time world, love it, love it. you were working on that 3D screen thing. That was really cool. Is that going to be available for others to utilize, or is that like a special thing that you created?
No, no, absolutely. If you want, I can just throw all the shaders into the ShaderWorks channel.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
great. Okay,
That's no
just
problem.
curious because it's really cool and you're so good at it. So
Oh no,
loved it.
I'm just pressing buttons, nothing more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, on a note of this, I tried to milk that approach a little bit more with a space that only uses this effect everywhere with videos.
Ooh.
On paper, it sounds awesome. On the first glance, it looks awesome. If you stay longer than 30 seconds in there, you think, oh my gosh, the performance is absolutely garbage. How can this be? But my log says here perfect 90 frames. How can this be? That's because you have a video all around you. The video is 3D and the video is just running with 30 FPS. And that's what makes you feel performance is absolutely bad. That's, yeah, unfortunately, keeping it as a screen and still having enough environment to anchor you
Yeah.
into the scene. Unfortunately, that's necessary in my experience.
Okay.
But yeah, that funny test opens a lot of cool new things we discovered,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, already made plans. So especially with the new SDK, I think all my major spaces will get a complete makeover with a lot of the new stuff in shaders I learned on the way, and also obviously a lot more functionality.
Good.
Sorry, I had to quickly take a sip. Okay, Maggie, what's
All
your
right, I have
question?
one last simple and straightforward question because we are almost finished here. All right, so okay, this is kind of a combo of two questions. So first question, what was the first world or map, whatever you want to call it, that you made in Banter? And second, what is your first experience in 3D modeling? How did you get into 3D modeling to begin with, using Unity and Blender and these types of programs? What inspired you to start?
Oh, okay. So the first question, Winter Sport Resort is the first one. That was part
Okay.
of the very first
I like that one.
Bantathon where I participated, and I was lucky to get hired after this. And yeah, my interest for 3D actually came from the movie Final Fantasy, oh gosh, what's the English title called? The
Spirit
Spirit
Within.
Within. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
So I saw this
Love them.
movie and I was just like, oh my gosh, that looks so freaking awesome. I want to do that too. And then I stumbled upon Cinema 4D, and then I started placing blocks for almost a year, nothing more, because I was young and stupid and had no clue what I was doing. And yeah, I don't know, but still, even though I all the renders I created for at least the first 2 years were absolutely garbage. It was just fun and engaging, and it just keeps me interested and stopped me from falling asleep. I was just sitting in school and only thinking about how I could, I don't know, create this bridge, which at the end was just some blocks stick together.
Well, I mean, you started somewhere, and now you're here with us. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us when we say that we're happy to have you here, and we appreciate everything you do and everything you've made so far, and everything you continue to do, and probably will continue to do. So, thank you, Aline.
Here, here.
Thank you.
Woo.
But yeah, on a different note, on the same note, it's really impressing what you guys already built in here and continue to build, and a lot of things where I'm thinking, gosh damn it, why did I not came up with this idea? No, I can't steal it because that would be super rude if I start now recreating your
Don't show your
spaces.
weakness. Shh.
Team up. Think of
So,
ideas.
yeah.
Outperform her.
You're the standard that we all have
But
to
let's
challenge.
face it, there's no
No,
point
she's the thing
learning
we have to catch
something.
up to. God damn.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
but what I see. Sorry, Lisa, continue.
I was just going to say, what is the point of learning something new if you've learnt it from somebody else? What's the point of learning it if you can't use it yourself? It's not stealing, it's not copying off somebody else. It's just
Yeah, exactly.
using something
Yeah.
new that you've learnt.
Yep.
No, I meant this more like, I don't know, if I would now create an aquarium that looks like
The
that's
fuck?
aquarium.
Yep.
Mine.
Just
Putting water on walls.
Just got your eyes on you.
I'm
yeah,
happy for
I mean,
contributions, don't worry.
I mean, I'm super impressed how some people are really progressing. They start from like zero and they just reach so much advanced stuff in half a year, which took me, I don't know, 3 years or so. So
Oh
that's
wow.
just absolutely amazing how you guys are holding up and how quickly you just learned. I say to myself, it's just because you have the internet now. When I was learning 3D there, I didn't have internet. I had to learn everything by try and error.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's the teachers that we should thank.
Yes.
People that
Yes.
actually walk us through things,
Exactly.
take the time.
Yes.
I can count maybe almost everyone in this room that has taken time for questions and learning.
Exactly.
So
Yes. They be
Probably
so
help these people.
patient. Y'all so patient.
Yeah,
Okay,
give credit where
so
credit is due. I like that.
if we don't have any more questions, I would like to use you all as a little test experience.
Good fucking
Okay.
hide. She's gonna
All
kill our
right.
Oh, we like
headsets.
this.
as long
Gonna
as we're not
blow us up.
swallowing pills, I'm game.
I'm
Oh,
excited. I
sorry.
haven't even seen this yet. I've been waiting.
It evolves
Ooh.
swallowing pills.
Ooh.
So unfortunately, my quest went out of battery. I was testing too much today. So I'm now on PC. So, but everyone that has a quest, I would be so happy to see
Sleepy
what's
time.
the
All right.
performance in
yeah.
here for you.
Do
Ignore
it.
the title. That's wrong.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to go in there.
What is it? Sleepy time?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
nice place.